Hey everyone, welcome back to Market Mamas. We're so glad you're here with us today. So in our recent episode featuring the excellent Jared Tendler's book, Mental Game of Trading, we briefly discussed tilt, but we saw that obviously it needed to be a much larger discussion. So today our topic is going to be just that. Tilt in trading is a big one, and it's an experience that every trader I know has battled with at some time or another.
Yes. We were talking about the topic of tilt when we were putting the episode together, and it just so quickly became clear that there was so much to unpack around it. So the actual word tilt, it's both a noun and a verb, and it generally means slope, slant, or leaning angle. Sounds innocent enough, right? But the term, the tilt that we make reference to in other episodes and in the realm of trading, and for today's discussion, originated actually from the arcade game pinball, where players would literally tilt the machine to avoid losing their ball. So it's also a very common term in one of Jared Tendler's other main worlds, poker. So in that sense, it refers to the experience of a player that gets really mad or frustrated and then plays really poorly as a result. So I mentioned this before, but I just have put in this episode also because I really like the quote when he's explaining tilt in the book, Mental Game of Trading. And he writes, "It's more fun and descriptive to say I tilted rather than I got angry and made some terrible decisions." So, I mean, that right there, we know that because we've both done that.
100%. I love that about the pinball machine. I'm like, how many times have we been like, if only we could tilt the charts a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it gets like so close either to taking you out or keeping you hitting your target. I mean, okay, let me get off. I'm getting off track. So I too know the feeling of tilt all too well. It sort of kind of tiptoes real sneaky at first, and then before you know it, it accelerates really quickly. Something in my trading day starts to go sideways and not as I had planned it. What I have found to be ironic about my tilt days is that it can often become an outcome despite having started out with a really strong morning. For example, all the top 10 pre-markets routines that we covered in that previous episode, were executed. I'm arriving at my charts ready to play my best game. So picture me, once the market opens, being super patient, no FOMO, live recording, journal entries to keep my understanding of context up to date, letting her reveal her direction, giving me a setup. I'm just so in tune with my levels, scanning my data, good self-talk, coaching, affirmations, communicating with my people occasionally, what my intentions are, just ready to make winning choices. Mm-hmm. And so I start to see a setup, what I believe is my pitch. It's in my trade plan. Price is seemingly being either accepted or rejected at my critical levels. My bigger time frame is supporting my direction. Mm-hmm. I have live data giving me a good idea of if buyers or sellers are in control, some good pattern and rhythm supporting my trade. I mean, we have no lack of tools when it comes to helping us in trading, right? Mm-hmm. However, even with all that on my side and a decent, usually never perfect, but solid entry, things can still go from calm and calculated to confused and chaotic. There's a number of reasons why a trade goes against us. Stop loss might not have been appropriately placed, maybe not the best fill price, or you tightened it too soon, not wanting to accept full risk. Sometimes a trade goes straight into profit, and that is the best feeling. And you're like, I'm so in sync. I'm riding her so well. And then your target gets missed by like a tick or sometimes even less than a full tick. You didn't act quick enough and take profits. You could have questioned, your target being too conservative and then widened to take more, once you got in the trade, just to kick yourself, seeing that your original target would have been hit. And now she's rebounding with force. These are the things, you guys, or of course, maybe your read was just completely wrong. And now that could be a trigger for a potential bias to start. The bias bug starts to eat at you. And now you're on a mission to prove that you're right. So any one or more of these outcomes, they can happen on any given trading session. And they're just part of the game. Mm-hmm. But when they're internalized and scrutinized in a manner that brings about feelings of regret, lack, and frustration, you're entering the danger tilt zone. You're entering the state of almost entitlement. that you have something to prove and the market owes you something. And that's just never a good recipe for success.
No. Oh my goodness. I totally have been in the exact same situation more times than I really want to admit. Yeah. So it is really that easy. It's so easy to slide down that slippery slope. In general, emotions are powerful in life and in our bodies. They carry substantial weight with how we make decisions and with what we say and do, especially in fast-paced environments. So when you're day trading, choices with executions must be made in real time and with real risk on the line. So important financial outcomes are won or lost based on our choices with sometimes only seconds to make certain decisions. Price action can rapidly approach your level, and then it is potentially time to really engage and make choices depending on what happens there with price. So, can you always act with clarity and logic in those moments? That's the goal, to execute based on your trade plan, your system, your predefined risk management, and your rules. But if you've already taken a loss potentially that morning, or you jumped the gun a little bit, you got in too early, essentially, if any added challenge adds emotional strain onto your mental game in the morning, there will be emotions in the way you execute. It's human nature. The extent on which we allow those emotions to take control, that will dictate the extent to which we may or may not tilt. I've also heard tilt in trading defined as a situation in which a trader behaves within the state of a strong emotional agitation and either cannot or doesn't want to control his actions. We all know the power of a strongly agitated state. We can see red or even have a blur of vision altogether. That stress response causes the body to flood us with hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, similar to rage. And that leads to an elevated heart rate, a breathing rate, anxiety level. For sure, your body goes into this real extra mode. So for sure, we are then no longer observing the market with peace, curiosity, logic, but rather with an offensiveness, aggression, and a righteousness that makes it so much harder to back down from it. It's like a challenge. And an important factor with trading that we've also mentioned before, and it's highly relevant here, is that trading is a solo sport for most of us retail traders. So we are alone at our screens. The morning is quiet. There's no boss supervising our moves. We can click however we want to click. We can manage our trades however we choose to. So we can easily let our guard down and play with that fire. But then the aftermath, it's often really hard to accept when that happens.
100%. Emotion regulation is at the core of what we must master if we want to avoid tilt. So then how do we do that? Is there a way to avoid it, or at least limit it? You know where we're going with this. The D word again. This is the job of a specific, detailed, disciplined system. Again, Jared's Mental Game of Trading book gave us an amazing template to become more aware of how our mental and emotional levels come into play with our technical levels. In the next example I'm going to use, it starts off with a level, say a 10, where you are energized, you're totally consumed by the process, you're waiting for market to come to me, come to us, you're not concerned about the money. And so then we kind of go down to maybe around an 8, and we're wondering why it's not working, trying to convince ourselves that it still can. A bit on the edge, leg bouncing. And then we go further down, and now the heart rate starts accelerating some. You're moving your mouse faster. Maybe you can't take your hand off of it. Maybe you're starting to care about what other traders might be doing in the moment. Just overthinking, looking for something newsworthy, what do we call it? We've called it before, trade hunting, almost in a sense, thinking about how to end your day green. And then closer to the bottom, maybe like at a 2, really weak. This is when you can't step away, even though you know you should. When we're checking our P&L, every 10 minutes, maybe every minute, and your body feels itchy, you're uneasy, you're just completely agitated and just feeling the worst. So that is the mental states. And now we're going to talk about the technical levels that correspond with that, also going from strong to weak. So that's going to look like when you're at a 10, you are taking action only at the predetermined spots. You're able to let your trades play out. And then a little further down from there is going to be having trouble of letting go of losing positions and looking to enter sooner than your strategy tells you. And then going even deeper is going to be forcing trades for valid reasons, but they're not ideal. So another, basically convincing yourself, talking yourself into trades. And then the low would be over trading, getting in and out of positions more randomly, and moving your stops. So that's when you're pretty much in that desperate mode and you're at I like to say you're at the mercy of the market. You're just hoping. You're trading your hope. You're trading your desperation. Trading your ego. Trading your P&L. You're just a mess. You don't belong in the market. You have no place in the market. The market is going to do nothing for you at that point, but bring you about feelings of toxicity, feelings of failure, feelings of unhealthy feelings that you should not allowed to even, become part of your trading session.
Yeah, that's a really good list, both the mental and the technical, of what it can look like to be at your best game, and also like down in the feels and the emotions and the tilting. Like I imagine we've all been on every level of that, and we definitely can feel the difference. So that's a good outline of what it is. It's a critical factor in staying in this game is managing that discipline and always putting forth whatever you need to stay at those optimal levels. So, okay, another one from the mental game of trading that was really beneficial was ways to help us understand ourselves better and some strategies for improvement. So when you can understand where you're at, then you start targeting improvements. Towards the end of that book, Jared advises there that things might actually get worse before they get better. And that makes sense, right? As we learn more about ourselves at a deep level, it exposes areas that we didn't even know existed. And we have to start from scratch with understanding those levels. And then you target them for improvement so that you can develop a greater, stronger competence. So he puts it like this: being more aware of your emotions can also feel like you're taking steps backward. Greed, fear, or tilt can feel more intense when you pay closer attention to them. These are not actual steps back. Rather, you are becoming aware of what had previously been ignored. Yeah, I experienced that for sure. When I journal about or discuss a struggle that I'm trying to grow past, I swear sometimes it just keeps popping up. But with increased awareness and focus on something, that also makes sense. Like the example of researching a car you want to buy. You read about it, you learn all about that car and its specs, you ponder the choice of it all, what it would look like in your life, and then all of a sudden, now you see that car everywhere. But they've always been in the mix on your roads. You're just noticing them more now that you're looking and thinking about it. Same thing with this. It's like the main point of that is where he urges you to just know that you are on the right track once you've identified your biggest struggles, and then you keep adjusting your game and working at it. As we like to say, it's always strategy season. And sooner than you realize, the work that you're all doing at the process, it really starts to matter as you inch along in your path. So that awareness is actually like a superpower for really making the right choices and adjusting everything you're doing.
Yes, totally agree. So how long does it take to really master your emotions, commit to full consistency with your discipline, and always execute with patience and purpose? Well, do you want the truth? A lifetime? Will it happen in this lifetime? I don't know. But I know for sure it will be a never-ending work in progress. Not one that's perfect, because none of us are perfect and we weren't meant to be, nor do you have to be in order to be a profitable trader. That's what's great about trading. No matter where you are where you're at in your pursuit, you can still enjoy this journey, right? The highs and the lows, and grow through them. A realistic goal is to work diligently to slow the frequency and depth of your tilt sessions, and over time, the impact will substantially decrease. To drive this home, we have a quote from an OG trader and hedge fund manager, Larry Hite, where he said, "Throughout my trading career, I have continuously witnessed examples of other people that I have known being ruined by a failure to respect risk. If you don't take a hard look at risk, it will take you." Tilting essentially throws the gates wide open to risk and is not sustainable for lasting success as a trader. So sure, the term tilt is more fun to say than anger and revenge, but the risk is serious and it must be treated as such. Identify, target, and correct, and then repeat that process until you are safely executing week after week. That is growth, and it will lead to maturing and significant profitability as a trader.
Yes, I totally second that. I mean, it does have to be taken seriously. All right. I know you guys have it. You guys have experience with tilt too. So let's leave some comments on this one, okay? We're not alone. Tilt is a very real barrier to success in trading and the phase of learning to trade that we must navigate as we push through this crazy challenging pursuit of trying to become a successful trader. We don't want to hold anything back from you guys. Our whole point here at Market Mamas is to be authentic and real about the very hard world that we are choosing to engage with every day. We for sure have made some poor choices in the emotional space of a full-on tilt, and on more than one occasion. Rite of passage, maybe? I mean, I think so. Did we choose to learn from it and grow stronger and more resilient from that lesson? Hell yes, we did. And you can too. We have to. Okay, this last quote just has to be on this episode and is our final thought for today. One of the all-time GOATs in trading for sure, Warren Buffett said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." Hold your discipline and patience, guys. Miss Market is abundant, but we have to manage ourselves in order to be able to receive from her abundance. Okay, our best trading days are ahead. So have a great rest of your day, and thank you for being here with us today. Please like, subscribe if you haven't, and tell us your experience with tilt in the comments below, because we all have one, and there's no shame in being a human. So enjoy, take care. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.